Here in Massachusetts, sports bars showing your favorite teams, not hard to find, except if that team is part of a women's league. Shayna Seymour shows us how several Boston women are changing the landscape.
Pro League expansion, record game attendance, and skyrocketing merchandise sales. This is not just a moment in women's sports, it's a movement.
We're really in an exciting place, and it's not going to turn back. Representation is the most important way that we can continue the momentum for women's sports.
And now there's a group working to provide a place in Boston where you'll always be able to watch them.
We're trying to find space for ourselves to go somewhere and sit and enjoy a game and a meal and not just have to take the TV in the back of the room.
Whitney Edwards and Lydia Coverdale Perez, along with Janelle Dovitz, Angela Cinces, Jacqueline Rodriguez, Dana Marie Cinces, Laura Coverdale Perez, and Celia Castro are the co-owners of the new Sports Bra Boston.
These are friendships that are over 20 years old. It's been cool to see that transition into being able to build a business together as well.
This group has so many different talents. We have lawyers, we have therapists, we have educators, and we really thought as a group, we could really do this.
The original Sports Bra was founded in Portland, Oregon in 2022 by Jenny Nguyen. It's the world's first sports bar that shows only women's sports. After a successful start and an investment from Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian, Nguyen announced an expansion, 4 new franchise locations.
We put in a wonderful bid saying that Boston would be a great city to showcase women's sports. It's the landscape, we're the city of champs. Boston needs a place like this.
Bonded by their shared love of sport, the Great Eight knew they weren't the only ones who'd felt this way because they'd been hosting women's sports watch parties.
I think we had 5 events in our first year in 2024. We're right about at 20 for 2025.
Watch With Us Boston brought together a huge crowd at Medford's Great American Beer Hall for the National Women's Soccer League playoffs.
People are really motivated to support spaces in the community that we're trying to create.
We're doing something that we have an authentic connection to and a passion for that we truly enjoy.
Our thanks to Shayna for that. There is no such thing as too young to make a difference. And Olivia Zhang is a Harvard University student studying economics and global health. The junior is already the founder of one of the largest youth-led cancer nonprofits. It's called Cancer Kids First. Zhang is also an author, a Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree, and a social media influencer. She joins us now in the studio this morning. Olivia, I was telling her during the break, you're awesome. She was just telling me that she's studying for the midterms in between all of this. Let's start first with your Cancer Kids First organization. Talk about why you wanted to start this, because you started this when you were only 14.
Yeah, so my parents, they immigrated from China at the age of 30. And, they came to the United States with no money and no support system. So naturally, they were really busy trying to work a lot of different jobs, work really long hours to keep my sister and I afloat. And as a result of that, I was raised primarily by my grandfather. I even lived with him for a few months in China, and also my elementary school teacher. My elementary school teacher, she used to stay after school until 7 p.m. with me, which is obviously not something a teacher has to do. And even in middle school, I visited her. So we grew really close, and in late elementary school, both of them were diagnosed with cancer. And over the summer, when I would visit my grandfather, I think just obviously seeing the effects of cancer on his body, that was really difficult. And because we were so close, I tried to sell artwork to help fundraise for his treatment and do different volunteer efforts to support him throughout his journey. And then ultimately he passed away from cancer. And then my elementary school teacher passed away 2 months later. So it was at 13 years old, I'd lost the 2 most important people in the world to me, and I didn't really know how to navigate that grief or process it. So Cancer Kids First was honestly born it was almost like a coping mechanism in a sense, where I found purpose and essentially got myself out of bed every morning because I wanted to commit an act every single day to honor them and kind of honor, I guess, their time here on this earth and carry on their legacy. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to create this nonprofit that would help other families and other kids that were going through the same disease.
That's beautiful that you were able to do that. I know now your experience led you to write a book. It's called Youth, the Young Person's Guide to Starting a Nonprofit. You have it here with you.
Yes.
How do you hope this helps other young people?
Yeah, I think that honestly, there's so much potential for future generations, especially given everything that's going on currently, societally and politically in our world. I think it's more important than ever. But I realized, throughout these 6 years of running my organization and also posting about like my journey on social media, I received thousands of DMs, emails from young people who also wanted to start something, whether it was like a nonprofit or a social impact project or a club at their school, but they just didn't really know how, or they were really scared to because of their age. And obviously it's really difficult when you're 14 trying to build this insane dream and like pitch it to adults. Like it's very hard to get them to trust you and believe in your mission and vision. So this guidebook is essentially sharing my journey and my advice, everything that I wish I knew when I was starting, as well as the stories of 13 other amazing founders who were able to kind of build something really, really impactful at a young age. Because I really think just by bridging that like knowledge gap, hopefully even more people will be investing their time and energy into starting something that they care about to make a difference.
So many people have great ideas but don't know where to begin. So this is really like a playbook and helps give them the confidence to go for theirs.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
That's amazing. Okay, you talked about your background being a big part of your experience. It shapes so much of us, how we grew up. You talked about your Chinese immigrant household. How has that background shaped you as a leader now?
Yeah, that's a great question, and something that I've definitely done a lot of reflection on. But I think that naturally, like Cancer Kids First grew because it was, impetus from these negative events that had happened in my life. But I think ultimately, like the ability to carry forward the work that I do and also expand the service work into the different like nonprofit consulting roles that I do or serving on different healthcare boards is largely because as like a older daughter, especially in an Asian household, you kind of have to step into this role where you have obligations to take care of your family, and of your younger sister. So my mom, she struggles with a lot of different mental health difficulties. So when she, didn't want to eat or really didn't want to go to work, it was kind of almost mandatory for me to like step in, and that was a role that I think I grew into as I grew older, and that really built my emotional resilience in a sense, as well as like picking up my sister from school, cooking her meals when my parents couldn't, doing things like translating emails. Like I would write memos sometimes for my mom at her job, and so doing these like little tasks, I think that's very common for a lot of immigrant children that isn't talked about. It's like you're forced to grow up really, really quickly and learn to be a caretaker for everyone but yourself. And so I think naturally that's why service is so ingrained in me, because I know firsthand what it feels like to not have hope, and also it's literally been taught, ingrained within me to, I guess, be the person to bring that light to others. And so I think that is so important, and being a role model and kind of like speaking out about these issues, and also how background can definitely influence like your mindset and the things that you commit your time and energy to. I think that is super important. That's why I kind of do all the work that I do.
Absolutely. You inspire so many women. I mean, I'm inspired listening to your story. Who's a woman that inspires you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think definitely my high school principal has been a huge mentor and role model for me, and she's someone who really inspires me. I think because she essentially, I think, saw potential within me when I didn't see it myself. And, I was struggling a lot with family difficulties given, the mental health issues that my mom had gone through. And I also, with my nonprofit, I was so meek when I approached adults for partnerships. I didn't know how to pitch myself. The other thing is, being an Asian American woman, especially, you're not taught to lead. You're kind of, expected to study, keep your head down, and not talk about yourself or things that you care about. And so she saw, I guess, the things that I was struggling with, and she believed in me, and so she gave me a platform, she gave me opportunities to develop skill sets, and also just, I think, intrinsically just being there for me, that helped build my confidence a lot. So it was really a matter of I think women who inspire me are those who help those, who are maybe struggling or need help in some way, and give them the platform and resources to kind of grow into the best version of themselves.
Absolutely. Olivia Zhang, it's been an honor speaking with you. Continue doing what you're doing. You're doing incredible work out there. We're going to have much more, of course, of this on our website, WCVB.com. And we'd love to hear from you. Cityline at WCVB.com. Have a wonderful afternoon.